I watched $60,000 evaporate. But luckily, this was $60K in profit.
So you're floating. Okay.
Yes. That was heartbreaking. In one 4-hour candle, I watched all 60,000 evaporate.
I was sitting in a ginormous short position on the euro, and it was it was going really, really well. And something similar happened where I like went to bed and I was like, this is awesome. And I like moved that stop down to like break even, and I woke up and it had like nailed the stop.
Yeah.
And
it actually wasn't my record trade.
Really?
It was like an as per usual trade, but I think it was still a significant amount. I think it was
2025 from here. What's the big plan?
It's just to maintain. In all honesty, I've stripped it completely. I don't know what I'm going to end up with this year.
You were a day trader.
Yep.
And you switched to swing trading. Would you ever go back, or
no?
Swing trader for life?
Oh, no way.
All right. Today's video is sponsored by Vantage Markets, and for a limited time, they are currently offering a welcome bonus of 50% to new depositors. Vantage Markets allows traders to trade 1,000+ different instruments all under the same brokerage via their CFD platform. You can trade Forex, indices, cryptocurrencies, and even stocks through their CFD platform. And again, it is a brokerage that has been around for a while. They have a great reputation in the industry, and they are well regulated. So don't miss your opportunity to check out Vantage and take advantage of the great offer that they're currently offering new depositors. And a quick note about welcome bonuses for Vantage. They are based on which part of the world you are in and based on your country, so please check the link in the description to see what you qualify for. They're celebrating their 15th anniversary and are used and celebrated by over 5 million traders worldwide. So if you're serious about your trading and looking for a serious brokerage to set up shop on, check out Vantage and do your due diligence using the link in the description down below to take advantage of that offer. Now back to the video. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I am with the one and only Tori Trades, who is here in office.
Right?
We have a little studio office here, and she's made it in person. It's good to have you on here, Tori. How are you?
Thanks for having me. Doing good. It was just a little quick 3-hour drive to get over here.
Yes. So for listeners, she's in Nashville. I'm in Atlanta. We've got a little studio here. She stopped in on her way. So thank you for making the time.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
This is our third time doing an interview. I've got some questions for you from your many fans who have a lot of questions for you. I put together a list for us, and let's just jump right into it.
Okay.
So first question, for people who don't know you, I don't know who you are and what you're doing wrong in the trading space.
I'm just kidding.
But if you do have just a little bit of a brief overview for people who maybe are learning about you for the first time.
Sure.
Tori Trades, tell us about yourself.
So I have been trading for 10 years now, which is still weird to say. And it's going to be weird when I say 11 and 12 and 13. It's going to be crazy.
And 20.
And 20. Oh my gosh. Eventually, yes. I've been trading for 10 years now. I am a swing trader. I trade the 4-hour time frame. I'm a futures trader. I kind of specialize, I guess, in platinum and crude oil, which I know you trade crude oil. Probably never platinum, though, huh?
Not in a while.
Okay. But you've done gold.
Never say never.
Never say never. I didn't think I'd be trading platinum, and here we are. I learned a strategy from a family member, and I guess that's really about it.
Yeah. So you've been doing it for a little bit longer than I have.
Okay.
I've been doing it for 8 years. And I think that what is so unique to your story is that the mentor, you're like the biggest advocate that I know for like mentorship, right? Because some people are like, oh, you got to learn it all by yourself. You got to like try a million strategies, but you're like really heavy on like you had guidance, which I want to get into in a second, but I'm going to try and stay under my script.
Sure.
So my second question for you is just 2025 so far. How are things going? It's a crazy year. Volatility is everywhere.
Yeah.
You've got, all sorts of stuff in the world happening. How has it, if at all, like impacted your trading style? Like you're trading crude oil and platinum, like trading style, how has it impacted you this year?
This year has been the biggest roller coaster of my whole trading career. January started out like heavy. I got my record trade, first trade of the year. Like I was like, this is great juju for the year. Like we love. Then we came into February, and I'm setting crazy delusional goals for myself. I'm like, okay, you know what? This is going to be the year that I make $500,000 in trading. And I'm starting to calculate like, okay, so I need to make like 44,000-ish a month, and the pressure is getting to me, and like I'm starting to force some trades. I'm getting way too attached. So removed that goal, and now we're just going to try to trade well. Thank gosh, because market conditions now, if I had the goal, there's just no way. I'd be defeated at this point. But morale is still high. Like, I've still got high hopes and, like, big goals for myself, but I'm trying not to set, like, a limit to it or, like, an expectation. But we're doing well. Like, every single year, I impress myself. We do better every single year.
Yeah, and that goal, I have a question for you later on that, because I think that was one of the most transparent things I've seen in the trading space in a while, to acknowledge, like, you know, I shot for the stars and I still landed among them. Like, it's okay, but, like, we'll talk more about that in a second. Like, that's an exciting topic, but let's keep the audience waiting just a bit.
Okay.
Okay.
Although
next.
I will say, with the market conditions, though, like, just recently, I kind of went back to the crazy delusional stuff. Remember, I just got back from Miami. I did a podcast with Riz, another one, with the Chart Fanatics this time. And I got back, like, feeling very motivated. I was comparing myself to every other dude in the space.
Well, you're in Miami.
As per usual, yeah.
That's why I stay in Atlanta.
Great idea, because you go back home and you make stupid decisions. So when I tell you that I got home from Miami and placed my first 40 contract trade...
40 contracts.
40 contracts.
Okay.
That was very impulsive of me and very bold. We're still currently in it.
Oh, and is this platinum or oil?
It's platinum.
Okay.
And then speaking of volatility, I think it was the decision with tariffs with China just released. Like, I think it was not yesterday, or maybe it was like 4 a.m. yesterday or the day before. I watched $60,000 evaporate. But luckily, this was $60K in profit.
So you're floating. Okay.
Yes. That was heartbreaking. That was heartbreaking. In one 4-hour candle, I watched all 60,000 evaporate. But then I, like, had to do some self-reflection and be like, okay, like, remove the dollar amount, forget the fact that you're trading 40 contracts, which we can get into later. Not the smartest decision. But I figured 10 years of experience, I've got the capital. Like, let's try to rally the troops and see what I'm capable of. Regardless, still not the best decision.
Sure.
But we're in it. So remove the dollar amounts and, like, look at the trade as a whole. If I would have been trading this with my regular 20 contracts, I'd still be in. So we're still floating. It hasn't crossed my safety line or my trend line yet. So we're holding. We're back up like maybe 30 now. But what an absolute roller coaster.
Yeah, no, I mean, that is just a quick side note. I remember I trade a little bit of everything: FX, commodities, indices. And actually, a couple of years ago, I was sitting in a ginormous short position on the euro, and it was it was going really, really well. And something similar happened where I, like, went to bed and I was like, this is awesome. And I, like, moved that stop down to, like, break even, and I woke up and it had, like, nailed the stop. And it was, like, one of the worst feelings. It's like, I didn't lose anything, but there's an old expression in like trading world. It's like, if you make $1 million and lose $1 million, you lost $1 million.
For sure.
Like, that's how that feels.
For sure. Right? Yes.
So yeah, very, very painful, very real feeling. Like, once you see your account grow in value, you're like, that's mine now.
Yes.
Like, I've made that return. But okay, let's jump into our next one, because that was a great start. Let's talk about actually, this is right in line, because so 2025 has been crazy. It's been volatile for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Probably a tough environment for new traders, I can imagine.
Very much so.
But you also had a trade, and I related a lot to it. You put out a video talking about, like, several times. I think you might have had like two record trades this year. And there was one where you were, like, emotional in the video.
Yeah.
That you had, and I've been there. So, like, I related to that. I was like, dang, it's like a lot of emotions at once. It's like you're monitoring a trade that is a good size. It like has your attention, but then also it's kind of like a milestone in your own life. Yeah. Like, you're like, whoa, I've, like, 10-year-old, or not 10-year-old, but like 10 years ago me would be, like, shocked that I'm in these types of trades. So can you tell us just a little bit about, like, what was going through your head during that moment? Looking back now, you know, I imagine it's been a couple months since that happened, or a couple weeks.
It was back in, I think it was in February, or maybe late January, one of the two. But I was in San Diego in, like, the most beautiful Airbnb I've ever stayed in, and it actually wasn't my record trade.
Really?
It was like an as per usual trade, but I think it was still a significant amount. I think it was 35,000, maybe 37,000. I mean, which is it still blows my mind that
Right.
I can.
It's a crazy number.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I got emotional. And do you swing trade? You do. Yeah.
I do.
So like the sense of relief when you get after holding on to a trade for days, weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So all those emotions came at once.
Yeah.
Like I had been holding that trade for probably over a week.
Yep.
I'm in like an incredible environment. I'm feeling very grateful. I had just, talked to my uncle not too long before that. I closed the trade and I can't even describe it. It's just such a relief to like finally be done. You don't have to go to sleep, wake up, have the trade like lingering in the back of your head.
Yep.
So it's very mentally exhausting. So it was a combination of just being incredibly grateful, but also that relief to like just have the trade closed.
Yeah. No, I totally imagine especially with like if I was in another place and I'm looking around, I'm like, wow, this has really taken me to like a different height in my life that I thought I was going to do. That's really cool. And, again, people are like, oh, people will throw out like, oh, you shouldn't be emotional in your trading. And I actually am an advocate for the opposite. Like, it's okay to be emotional.
Absolutely. I agree.
And feel the impacts of like this trade hurt or it stung or felt great. It's really ultimately what your actions, right? Like if you have emotions, that's fine. But like your actions with what you do with those emotions, that's ultimately, what makes or breaks you, right?
Yeah.
So just thought that was, really a cool story that I think a lot of people might be able to feel that and also relate to it. Have you ever wondered if there was a way to essentially plug in your trading account to somebody who has a lot of experience and simply copy what they're doing in the markets? Well, with Vantage's copy trading platform, this is actually an option. For traders outside the United States who are interested in using Vantage, there will be a link in the description down below to where you can explore this in its full list of features. Their copy trading platform allows you to essentially plug in your account to somebody who has verified stats on their platform, and you can essentially copy all of their trades into your own trading account. Now, of course, I encourage you to do your due diligence on this and make sure that you actually understand the full list of risks with doing this, but some traders are simply more interested in allocating money to somebody who has significant experience rather than doing all the hard work themselves. Now, let me just say that copy trading is not a quick way to get rich quick. Just like proper trading, you'll need to understand that drawdowns are real, that even the greatest traders have periods of losing streaks and that sort of thing. But by exploring their copy trading platform, you can see if there is somebody on there that aligns with your tolerance for risk, so on and so forth. So I do encourage you, if this is something that you're interested in, check the link in the description down below, do your due diligence, and see if it's right for you. You mentioned you also are swing trading.
Yep.
How is that going? Because you were a day trader.
Yep. And
you switched to swing trading. Would you ever go back or
no.
Swing trader for life?
Oh, no way.
All right.
I maybe would if the setup called for it, I'd maybe place like a few. I think I maybe placed 2 day trades last year. Felt great. It was fun. It was in the indices, which I don't normally trade anyways. So you get that instant gratification. It's a little bit more adrenaline than I'm used to. So I enjoyed it, but I don't think I'll ever go back to day trading.
Same. I think I never really stuck there, but I moved on for pretty quick. And so, I just was curious because, people are all like, I think most of the trading space, like most of the trading community, if I am guessing, is short-term in nature. I've done like polls like, hey, do you day trade? Do you swing trade? And it seems like the majority of interest is in the lower time frame. So always just interested to hear like, when people try swing trading and make the jump, it's weird because it seems like most people stay. They like that slower pace, and slower does not necessarily mean easier. It does not mean
I try to preach that.
Yeah, it's just it's a different style. And, everything has its pros and cons. The one thing I've always been envious of day traders is that concept of not having to like go to sleep with your trades or like wait on your trades so long. So there's pros and cons to everything.
Yeah, very much so. And I think what I try to explain, so you haven't had too much experience day trading before swing trading. You've kind of just always been a little bit longer term.
Yeah, no, I always I started out at stocks.
Okay.
Moved over to Forex, and I've just always kind of gravitated towards not longer term, but like 4-hour daily chart. It's just always felt a little bit more comfortable there.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I think for those who maybe haven't had that route, which is usually the ones usually everyone starts day trading. Yeah. It's like the instant gratification. You're able to be in and out within the day.
Yep.
And making the transition from day trading to swing trading was one of the hardest. Like, going from the 5 minute to the 15 wasn't that crazy. The 5 minute to the 30, the 5 minute to the 1 hour, not that crazy. But the 1 hour to the 4 hour was the hardest transition.
Yeah.
And I think I try to make it as evident and clear as possible that, just like you'd said, it sounds like it's slower and it's easier and there's less anxiety, less stress, but it is absolutely not easier in any way.
Oh, and how crazy is it when you sit in a trade for like a week and it just kind of goes sideways and then it finally hits your stop loss, or you're just like, or like,
it's so defeating.
It's like, oh my gosh, I waited for you.
Yeah.
And you just left me at the altar.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it is challenging. So next one is, you love platinum and oil. I'm curious why. Like, just what made you like that as opposed to, everything that's out there? Because I think, like, I don't know, like, everyone loves gold. Everybody loves NASDAQ.
Yes, yeah.
Why platinum and oil? Like, what got you there?
I wish I had like this sophisticated, intelligent, research-driven answer that was like, I did so much research on all these instruments and these were the ones. It's not. I had to sift through as many. There was a point where I was trading a ton of instruments. I was doing gold, silver, oil, NQ, YM, corn, as many as you could imagine. And I found the most success, or I feel like the price action with crude oil, I really gravitated towards. That one I've been trading for longer than even platinum.
Yeah.
So I slowly started to narrow down those instruments and stuck with crude oil. It was mostly because there was 1 year, it was in October, I wish I could remember the year, maybe like 2019 or 2018, where I had like my best, like it just opened my eyes, like ceiling gone. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And so I just stuck with it. It was like, that was my bonding moment with crude oil.
It's weird, isn't it? Like how you can almost have like a relationship with a chart. It is really strange. But I've heard you talk about that before.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there are stocks that I like to trade. There are like currency pairs that I like to trade. And there are also like currency pairs that I don't like to trade, or things that I don't like to trade. And I don't really have a great reason why. Yeah. I just don't like that chart. Like,
yes. Yeah.
There's certain things where you're just like, I'm just not a big fan of trading that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like, everybody has that. And it just is, it's kind of, we're going to get more into like your technical strategy just on a high level in a second. But there's a little bit of just discretion. I know you're an advocate for that, like just kind of like getting your reps in and figuring it out. So we'll get to that soon.
Okay.
Let's keep going. So next question here. So you're highly selective with your trades. What makes a trade setup one that you just have to take? Because we've done a couple in the past together, and we've talked about like your trend line strategy. I know you've talked about that at length across social media.
Yeah.
For listeners who do not know, give us like this super simple version. And then the question is like, what makes a trade? Because again, it's not as simple as trend line breaks.
Right.
And you just take every single thing. Like, you have a selection process that you do in your head.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to hear like about that, like what, like that intuitive component to the trend line break concept.
So the strategy in a whole is purely price action, which I kind of envy the fact that you do much more like fundamental research. I do minimal.
Oh,
but
that's okay.
I mean,
makes a market.
fair. But purely price action, and I'll do a top-down analysis. I'll get a overall view of every instrument. So anytime I'm trading something new, I'm looking at it from the very beginning, dinosaur icon on TradingView to price action today, to see overall trend. I'll mark it up. I'm using trend lines, and I will connect each trend line as though like I'm creating this fan of like either upward, bullish, bearish trend lines. I'll start to move from monthly, weekly, daily, 4 hour, and then I'll stay in the 4 hour. And then I'm just trying to anticipate, after marking up all of the trends that it's currently moving along in the high time frames to the 4 hour, I try to figure out which trend is it going to follow along. And I'll allow price to break out of a trend line or respect a trend line, and that signals an entry or an exit for me. So that's essentially the strategy in a nutshell.
Right.
They're called action lines and safety lines. The trend line that gets broken tells me to take a position, to enter the reversal, and then the opposing trend line is the safety line. That's where my stop trails, and that keeps me in my trade. But then selection process? Or
yes,
not yet?
Because to differentiate, like sometimes people will pick on everybody's style, right? My style too. Fundamentals are like, oh, you're just making this way too complicated. So understandable. Okay. So with your trend line breakout strategy or your trend line break, I think sometimes people want to bring down like your entire process and make it so 100% mechanical. And I don't, from our past conversations, I feel like there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just I draw a trend line exactly this way across every high, or like there's a little bit of a selection process
very much
right,
so.
for you. So like, tell us about that.
I think, to be honest, if you just simply drew the lines and took every trade, which I've done out of my 10 years, I've done some like back testing just to see. And for the most part, like you don't end up profitable, but like you're not that far behind. You're just, you've taken all these trades and haven't made any progress. So then it's like narrowing it down, finding a selection process, which now I have like terms for them. So when I first started trading, it was just purely gathering information, recognizing this, not necessarily a pattern, but like this type of setup. Now that I've got like things like TradeZella to where I can label a playbook or label a setup, now it's so much easier and clearer to see it. So if you go back and see my videos from like 5-10 years ago, I will have never said something about an A+ or a 3 touch point trendline break. It was just me at the time recognizing this setup works well.
Yeah.
Now I've been able to like narrow it down and label it. So it's a combination of how much data is behind the trend line. So that's from its inception, like point A of the trend line, to where the price is at now. How much time has gone in between? Has it respected this trend for 3 days, for 3 weeks, for 3 months? So the first thing is just seeing how long it's respected the trend line. The second thing is how many touch points, price showing that it's gotten to this level and rejected. So it's a version of resistance, essentially, but in a trend line form. So seeing how many times the price has gravitated towards it, bounced off. So the time, the touch points on the trend line, and then also figuring out if, have we been in consolidation? If we get this break, even though it's been following along this trend for a while, it's got 3 touch points, but we're in consolidation. So that already cancels out the setup, because now we need double confirmation. It needs to break out of consolidation and still the same amount of time. So it's really, it's a combination of consistently adjusting the trend lines, trying to figure out which one it's going to actually respect, which one holds more weight, and so many things have to align. We can't be in consolidation. If we get a break and it's got 3 touch points and it's got a week's worth of data, it also has to be fairly close to the opposing trend line, so that it creates a low risk scenario for me. It gives me enough kind of like breathing room or wiggle room for it to pull back. So there's really, I know that I preach that my strategy is simple. It's drawing lines, breaks, but there are many more layers to it, to like really figuring out which one am I going to take. So like last year it was, I think maybe 17 trades that I took because I had to wait for setups just like those.
So for a couple of years I did boxing. I did kickboxing.
Oh, okay.
And in kickboxing or boxing, the old 1-2, the jab cross, right, is the simplest thing in the world. But the jab cross is also infinitesimally, I don't even know if that's a word, can be broken into and done differently so many ways. Like there's like a jab and then you step a little bit and you cross, or you jab and you cross the body, cross the head, like or like hooks. Like you can add in like so many flavors of the simplest thing. And that is where anybody can throw a jab and a cross. Like that, you learn that within like the first week of boxing.
Okay.
But masters do the same, like the best boxers in the world, your Floyd Mayweathers, they throw jab crosses, but with so much finesse and so much attention to detail. So that's where I think, the trend line break, like you can meme on any strategy if you want. It makes anything sound a certain way, but until you get the reps in, until you like have the stats to back it, like which you've shared on my posts and channels, past videos that we've done, like that's where the finesse comes in, is just getting the reps in, the discretion, the intuitive nature that you bring to it just by simply doing it over and over and over. So cool. Great answer. So you touched on it earlier, reevaluating your goal of making $500,000 in a year. I have so many personal like moments of like I like this happening too. So you're not alone in doing that. What was the main reason for why you chose to reevaluate? Like was it a drawdown? Was it simply the emotions of like holding yourself to such a high level and feeling like days passing were like missed? Like what was going through your head? What was the main reason for being like, let me just step back and reevaluate this? Yeah.
So that trade that I got emotional was a combination of that. Like I was trading my normal amount of contracts. Like, there was nothing special about that trade, except for it was a trade coming right off of my record trade. But realizing that I made it public, so that was already scary. That is so scary to make any goal public. There's just so much pressure, even though they don't care. They don't care if you make it or not.
Right.
But it's just, you can't convince me otherwise.
Yeah.
I've made it public. It creates a lot of pressure. And it was, like, just like you'd said, the days go by that I'm in that trade, and it's just like, this has to work out. This has to work out. I have to get to 44,000 this month. This has to work out. And then I got fairly close, and I was like, oh my God, it's a huge sense of relief. Breaking down a little bit.
Yeah.
So it was right after that I realized that was too much.
Yeah.
This was a normal trade. What happened? A lot of emotion there, very big emotions. And it was also just something that I had preached before, is to not set a goal, because the markets are going to give you what they give you anyways. So that was already contradicting something that I had talked about in the past.
Sure.
And I was like, well, you know what? I can still aim for something close. But thinking like percentage-wise of how I had done the previous years, it was just really, really shooting for the stars here. And I mean, I guess it just comes back to pressure. It was just a lot of pressure making it public.
Yeah.
It threw my trading off. And I didn't want that to affect my trading. So I was terrified that even outside of not making it to the goal, I was more terrified to make a crummy trading decision because of that than the pressure.
And like you said, at the end of the day, it's like these people that watch you, sure, there is a minority of them that really care about you and they really watch you. But a lot of them, the general public is kind of just like, they don't care that much. And it doesn't mean as much as it means to you, to them.
Right.
So yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Like I said, I've had like moments doing this too, where we have the nuance of like doing the trading thing, but also doing it in the public eye. I live stream every day, and there is like serious pressure to sharing goals, or to sharing, I see the market's doing this and then doesn't do that, and I feel like an idiot. So
yeah, absolutely.
There's some challenges with that. Next question is coaching your sister. That's a new one.
Yes.
How's that going?
Oh man, so much to that one. First of all, a lot.
You guys' energy together is hilarious.
Yes.
I love it.
Very much.
My sister works with me too.
Oh yeah?
And we have a fun dynamic as well. So I see you guys like doing it together.
It makes it so much more fun. It makes everything more fun. There's so much to it. Where do I even start? So my sister learned alongside me 10 years ago with my uncle. And she's more of a star. She's a entertainer. She's in the music industry. She sings. She's always on stage in front of the camera. Huge personality, big personality. So when I try to go back and find B-roll of like me learning and trading, she's in it all. Yeah. And I'm actually just the one recording it all. So when I try to go back and find videos of my uncle, I'm like, of course I'm not in any of them. But she ended up taking a different route. She didn't even pursue trading. She pursued music, which understandably so, incredibly talented woman. But now, like 10 years later, I've sparked the motivation again. And I can tell there's moments where she understands the way that I've modified my uncle's strategy to work for me. And she still is like, nah, like, it's just that authoritative thing. Like, I don't want to listen to you. You're my sister. I'd rather listen to Uncle Mike. You know what I'm saying? So we have some things.
Is she younger sister or older?
Younger. I'm the oldest.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So she would... And sometimes I'm a little bit like, come on, Peyton. I've been doing this for 10 years. You're not going to take my advice here? Yeah. But there's moments...
I'm the oldest, too. We know best.
We do. Come on. We've got the wisdom, the years of experience. But right now, she's getting there. I think she's placed 3 live trades total. She's been simulating for months. She's got the knowledge. Like, she learned it 10 years ago. She's heard me talk about it for a decade now. So she's got an idea of it, but then now she's putting in the reps of, like, live capital, psychology of, like, actually watching money disappear. But she's getting to it. She's trying.
That's awesome. It's not easy, right? Like,
oh, gosh, no.
Even with great guidance, it's still going to be hard. It's still going to take a lot of work. So that's awesome. I just it's an admirable goal, and not easy, like no matter who it is, so good for her for getting back into it, and good for you to help her. So very cool. So speaking of mentorship in general, you are a huge advocate of it, because of course you had your uncle kind of guide you. And a lot of people thought that was fake, which I thought was
Oh,
hilarious.
it's hilarious.
And I loved it for you when it came out. And it was like, yeah, this is really not fake. So question for you is, having a mentor in your journey obviously is really important, but a lot of times people don't they kind of brush that off. You know, how important was it for you, just in general?
It was 100% of my success. Like, it's just as easy as that. There's no way. I think I lucked out and had a version that was in person. I could look over his shoulder. I could call him. I had access one-on-one, full attention. I don't think many traders have that at all. And it's hard, especially when there's so many people getting into trading and there's only so many mentors, and then you've got to skim through to figure out which ones are legitimate. So it's tricky these days. Yeah. So I know that gave me a leg up for sure, having an in-person mentor, but I have to give 100% of my success to it, because there is no, how do you know? I feel like it would take years. Not that it's impossible, because he did it on his own, but it's just, the likelihood of you making it out on the other side is so slim.
Yeah. And the crazy thing too about mentorship is there may be the charlatans. There's also the people who are genuinely trying to help you, but they may not really have it down themselves trying to help you.
Yeah.
And then there's the rare examples like you're sharing of people who have figured something out that are actually doing the thing. And that's rare. So that's awesome. And it's good to kind of share that, because again, for people at home who are listening, if you can find people that have shared track record performance that are honest and transparent, it may not be as good as an in-person over-the-shoulder mentor, but it might help you genuinely.
Yeah.
So just something to think about for listeners, as mentorship is, it can be very deceiving if you're following somebody who's, making you believe something that's not real, or something that's outlandish or too good to be true, but just something to think about. So if you have a big win streak or a good trade, do you do anything different after that trade?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. We are full body check, mind check, make sure ego is not inflated. I will take a break. Many, many things. Only because I've just seen it so many times. Yeah. I've seen it so many times. You have your record trade, you go in, double down. I've seen so many traders have a record trade and then completely, very next trade, gone. Evaporated, as though it didn't even exist.
It's easy to do.
Yes, because you get so confident and you're like, man, I got this. I finally got it. Let's double down. Let's go even harder. Let's take on more risk, whatever it is. I've just seen it too many times that I am overly aware, overly cautious. I'll take a break from trading. There's so many things. I'll even take another trade to where I force myself to just take a few $1,000s. Nothing too crazy, just to really bring it back down. Because I think that's, just because I've seen it done too many times, I'm overly cautious.
Yeah, I do something similar. If I have a really good streak, what I try to do next is to just take half the size off, or even more, based on kind of what's going on up here. It's like you're saying, if it feels like you're dang, I think I might have cracked the code here. That's just when the market gets here,
my God, every time. Every time.
Oh, you're ready to get humbled.
Yep.
So no, that's same question in reverse for losing streaks. Painful periods, drawdowns, can't get the right trade going. How do you treat, what do you do in that circumstance?
Similar checklist and mental scan, is to be honest, I try to write affirmations and just remind myself that I'm a good trader. Market conditions aren't great. So I try to do affirmations, really bring myself back to reality. I try to remove any resentment towards the market, which is so easy to do, to point the finger and be like, it's the market makers.
Right.
Or it's who knows what.
Yep.
It's trading view, whatever it may be. Yep. It's so easy to do that. So to bring it back down, go inward. But I think it gets easier as you get the experience. I could take 2-3 losing trades in a row and I just don't take it personally. I'm just I can just very clearly understand that the markets aren't in my favor right now. The conditions aren't in my favor. And that's totally okay, because I know, just when you trade for as long as we have, you've seen the different conditions. You've seen when your strategy works the best, when it doesn't. But you know that the markets will always change. There's always different conditions to where your time will come again. Yep. So I think having the experience and truly believing that makes it so much easier.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think the market environments comment is really important too, because like any strategy has its moments where it's like, this is phenomenal, everything is moving, and because you trade specifically kind of a narrow set with platinum and oil, when those two markets, generally commodities, are like being very decisive, I imagine that's like a preferable type of environment, because you're like, okay, it's broken and it's actually following through, this is great. And then when it's not, it's like, okay, I gotta, do my waiting, kind of figure that out. So comes with its challenges. Biggest drawdown in terms of whether it be a percentage or a dollar amount or a duration of time, however you want to answer, give us your worst drawdown memory.
Ooh, well, first of all, like we had discussed earlier, I was up 60K. That was mine. That was my 60K. To watch it disappear, I lost 60,000, even though not really.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking. But something that I didn't mention is the trade that I'm in now was actually a continuation of a previous trade right before it, where I didn't close and reopen. I did the reverse. So I did like one order, 80 contracts, closed out my previous 40, got in the new 40, and it was just a few days ago. My biggest loss was just a few days ago. But here's the thing, that for some weird reason that didn't sting. It didn't. I think I was fully aware that I was going in very heavy in position size. I was prepared for like the shock factor. And it was $27,000. That was my biggest loss.
Yeah. I mean, it's you never really get used to that feeling of taking a loss, but it is weird how you get used to different numbers.
Yes. Very much so.
Like it never feels good to take a loss in general, but there were times where like $50 loss hurt.
Oh,
or like a $500 loss really hurt. And these are big amounts of money, but for traders at home, you also have to remember, like, trading goes like this. So your account is this value and it like goes up and down. So like it sounds like, oh my gosh, $2,000 lost or $5,000. Well, like if one trade you're up 10 and then you're down 2 and then you're up 5, you're up 3, it's like your account is doing this. So just something to like put it in perspective. That's where I think the numbers are weird to get used to.
Yes.
But it's like the swings are just kind of like oscillating within your account. So
yeah.
Just another way of thinking of it. So I kind of already asked you this, your best ways of handling drawdowns. I'll give you an example for me personally.
Okay.
If I'm going through a drawdown and it's like really eating me up and annoying me, I do something physical. I'm not talking about hurting anybody, but I'm talking like I'll go on walks, or I'll like hike, or I'll go like work out, or just like that's like my outlet of like getting that out of my system and like escaping that.
Yeah.
Do you do something similar, different? Like what's your ways of like actionably handling drawdowns? Because like mentally, that's like one side.
Yeah.
Like physically or what you actually do to like handle drawdowns.
Most of my drawdowns, since I'm trading platinum, it happens in the middle of the night. It's like 2:00 in the morning. Am I gonna get up and do a workout?
Yeah, that's fair.
No, but it's for the most part, when I am in drawdown, my first thing, which I do it so often now that I don't even realize it, but I'll do like this box breathing. I'll like hold my breath for like 4 counts, let it out for 4 counts in, and I'll do like this box breath. I do this now without even realizing it. But before, I did intentional breath work, because it's like you have so much control like over your like how fast your heart rate's going. Like it's the coolest thing to like be able to bring your heart rate back down, calm yourself down, and you have full control over it. So like you can, it was a very cool thing. I was working on when I learned about this breath work, I was working on free diving at the time and realized like how much control you really have over your body. So but now I do it without even thinking about it. But the box breathing is one of the biggest thing. Working out is huge. You could get over anything. You could get over heartbreak, a drawdown, like if you just go to the gym. Or like a walk or a run. It's the easiest way. But some like actionable things that I do that are like in the moment is if I have the trade planned out, which I should. Every single trade, I should know how long I'm going to stay in this for, although it's tricky when I'm trailing my stop, so I'm just hanging on for the ride. But I'll close my screen. Like I'll get off the charts because there's no point. If I'm looking at it, I should be intending to close it. Some alerts should have gone off. If I don't need to be watching my trade, monitoring it, I remove myself. So an immediate cut myself off from the charts, trying to do my box breathing, some sort of exercise talking about it oddly feels great. Like I've
Same.
been talking about this one trade that I'm in with everybody, my team, podcasts that I've been on, like any conversation. My mom, she hates hearing about it. My family, my sisters.
Yeah.
It just feels good to get it out.
Yeah. No, I relate to that a lot. This isn't one of our questions, but it's a side note. I actually had a point in and this is another kind of nuance to being a content creator and a trader and trying to juggle those two things because it's hard.
Yeah.
I had a moment in my trading career where I went through like a really painful drawdown in like 2022. I was like super wrong about like what the NASDAQ and gold was going to do. I mean, I traded those things and I was just really wrong. And I just kept taking losses and it sucked. I had a really big drawdown. I came out of it. It was fine in the end.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I looked back at it and I was like, you know what? That was like psychologically too much. So that's why I asked you about the, going through, having to recalibrate your goals and things like that. I had a moment in my own career that was like, for me, it was like defining I'm going to do this for 30 more years. If like that, I mean, I love this game.
Yeah.
I want to do it forever. And if I'm going to do it forever, how am I going to do it forever? The answer I kind of came to is like, I'm going to find a size in position that is never going to blow me up.
Okay.
It may not make me, a bajillionaire.
Yeah.
And that's a personal choice that I made. I was like, you know what? I truly am not looking to make, massive returns, but I know I love this game. I love talking about it, but it's painful to talk about when, it's going really poorly or you're just going through what is a normal drawdown.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to share that for audience members too, even though you may not have a YouTube channel or a content, thing. It is worth thinking about that. Ask yourself, like, do you love this game enough to be in it for 30 more years?
Yeah.
And if so, how are you going to survive? Because that to me is like the number one thing in trading is it's all about survival. Like if you can survive the next drawdown, get to that next win streak, you're good.
Yeah.
But if you can't, if you blow up mentally or with your capital, you can't make it there. So I just want to share that because again, that was something I did really publicly too. That drawdown was nasty. It was painful. Okay. I felt like I was just way too heavy and I made that mistake in front of everyone. And it's okay to do that as a content creator. And I think that for audience members, it is actually really, really like eye-opening. I think it makes you relatable. And also, I went through that. You went through that kind of like recalibrating. You're like, I need to just kind of reset goals. And by resetting, you just set your own expectations at a level that you're like, okay, now I can actually feel good about what I'm doing. This is sustainable. It won't blow me up, that sort of thing. So I just wanted to share that as a side note to that. But yes. So do you have any days of the week? Because you just mentioned, but while we took a quick break, you mentioned that like during the month of April, you took some time off.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any specific time of the year or day of the week or part of the month? Is there any like schedule to where you're like, okay, I'm done trading, or like any mechanical way where you're like, okay, I've hit my goal for a month or something like that gets you to be like, okay, pause?
Yes.
Okay.
The reason why I took April off was purely because of news, uncertainty. It was an eerie feeling. Like there was no way I was touching that. Even though I was talking to you about like earlier, I experienced FOMO, but also like satisfaction at the same time. Being like, thank gosh I didn't trade, but also like, man, so many people made so much money during April. Yeah. So very conflicting emotions there. But anytime there is I'm just trying to, exactly what you said, I'm just trying to be here for the long run. Anytime there is uncertainty and like crazy volatility, I'd rather just like not even. Yeah. I just want to capitalize on my average price action, what I'm used to, like the normal market conditions. It'd be awesome if I can, happen to catch one of these alongside with my average price action, but I'm not trying to actively capitalize on like these big moves, like this super volatile, uncertain, is there recession, what are the tariffs going to do? It's too random. And I mean, I guess it feels more random for me since I do less fundamental research, but I just try to stand aside. So anytime there's uncertainty in the markets, crazy news, speculation, whatever it may be, political news, very, very high impact stuff, I'll just sidelines.
Interesting. Yeah. Are you familiar with the volatility index and do you know anything about the VIX? I mean, okay, so yeah, that's fine. The VIX is a cool chart.
I've seen it. I've got a lot of teams that trade the VIX.
Yeah, the VIX is it's an interesting, measurement of volatility. And what you're explaining, the reason I brought it up is because when it gets like super high, it's usually an interesting indicator that the markets are really uncertain. Okay. So you mentioned that word, so I was like, if the VIX is super high, uncertainty, it's actually what you explained through your experience is actually something I talk about a lot, and I think a lot of people discuss, which is certain strategies work well in certain environments where there's not as much unexpected, like tariffs this and tariffs that. And then there are other people who like love that stuff. Like there's some people who love that like super unexpected moves all the time. So just something else to think about is for listeners, check out the VIX. It's a cool instrument to explore.
Good to know. I will too.
Yeah. And it's like super nuanced to options traders, so it's kind of
good to know.
Yeah, but anyways, last one for you.
Okay.
So you had the change up in terms of your personal goals for 2025. Do you have any revised ones for 2025? Like 2025 from here, what's the big plan?
It's just to maintain. In all honesty, I've stripped it completely. I don't know what I'm going to end up with this year.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So it's truly, I've stripped it completely. I've gone a complete opposite direction of like 0 goals. Mm-hmm. I just want to see how well I can trade. Although right now I'm making some decisions that aren't the best after coming back from Miami, which does me dirty every time. Mm-hmm. Really got to be in check when I do that. Mm-hmm. But maybe this is a great start. I mean, sometimes, I know you've got experience with this where you set out and made this decision that like, this is my risk. Mm-hmm. I'm here for the longevity of it. I'm not trying to over leverage. Like I'm not here to make crazy amounts of money. I'm not trying to flip my account. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure there's moments where you're like, I kind of wanna.
Yeah. No, because there's like a middle ground because you're like, I don't want to like have my foot completely on the brake.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be full on the gas either. I think for me, and this is, in 2022 where I went through that really tough drawdown.
Okay.
I realized that my goal was kind of similar. I was going heavy. I was like, I want to have a really, really solid year. And that's okay to have that thought. Like, hey, I want to push myself. I want to see what I can do.
Yeah.
And I had that thought, and I felt that I was on offense with my trading. I was like, I'm on offense, right? And my goal changed where I was like, okay, I'm going to do this in the public eye for many years. Mm-hmm. I want to do this at a sustainable rate. So my goal personally in that year went from, I want to, make a really impressive return this year to, I just want to feel good and trade. Right? And that was like the simple goal switch. I've not deviated from that since that, and it was game changer for me. Like, you have clearly tons of experience, records to show, and that is still something that takes a long time. I'm still figuring it out, right? Like, what's that perfect middle ground between doing what I can do and also playing it defensively enough that I can be here for 30 years? Yeah, it's the challenge of the market.
That is, right? So, and yourself figuring out at what pace do we grow? How do we grow? I felt like my 20 contracts for the past like 2 years was perfect. Mm-hmm. Like, and why I doubled it was a little aggressive. It was aggressive, but I don't know. I don't know what it was that sparked it in me, but I'm excited about it. Mm-hmm. I definitely feel stuff. I feel something, which I haven't in a really long time in trading, like just that high emotion again, which please don't do as I'm saying. It's just, it comes with the experience and like really just trying to see what I'm capable of. Yeah. There's always the downside that I did this and then would have had to publicly be like, I really messed up.
Sure. Yeah. And I think I have, what I do is when I feel that desire to like go heavier or go bigger, I open up a smaller account. And it's like, I'm going heavier. This
is all I have to play with.
It's still not like gambling. It's not like I'm being an idiot. Like, I'm still taking my trades. Yes, like you are. And it's just trying to find that how fast versus how slow do I want to go. Mm-hmm. And that's, again, it takes many years. I'm still figuring it out, to get it perfect. So, so those are all the questions I had for you.
Cool.
Thank you for episode 3 with me this time in person. It was awesome. You're in and out of Atlanta, so maybe we'll have to do it again sometime.
Deal.
Awesome. For listeners, where can they find you?
Instagram, Twitter, I think even Snapchat, maybe if you really search.
Do you do TikTok?
YouTube. I do TikTok also.
I need to get on TikTok.
You do. I mean, there was that whole thing where people were thinking it was going to go away. It's here. We're good.
Okay, we're
so,
good.
Tori trades on anything, any account, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all the above.
Awesome. Well, there you go, guys. Check her out. Thank you, Tori, for coming and making the time, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right, Dale. Thanks for having me.
All right.